Today's guest of honor is somebody really near and dear to me, none other than Raquel Quinet. Raquel Quinet is a growth coach, entrepreneur, and real estate veteran who started her first business at 19. She built and scaled 6 companies, including 1 to 8 figures and an Inc. 500 recognition. And now she helps entrepreneurs and agent CEOs create freedom, scale their revenue, and play bigger roles in both business and life. Let's watch it.
I think it's one thing to be in the business, be a top producer, and run your business, but it's another one to actually get results when you're in a consulting coaching form.
You don't want to be the CEO. People think that that's the most glamorous job. It's actually the
hardest.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Winners Club podcast, where even when we don't win, we learn, and learning is a form of winning. My name is Brian Trent. I'm your host. I got my co-host here, PJ Padua.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
I got special guest here, Mia.
Hi.
And today's guest of honor is somebody really near and dear to me. She has helped grow one of my companies from like a little peanut to now a big tree. None other than Raquel Quinet. Raquel, what's up?
I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to let her share her story, but Raquel I know her more as a business coach, but her experience stems from being able to just connect, evaluate, and give you real strategies, not the rah-rah, not the let's go walk on and jump over fire. Like, that's cool for some of you guys, but Raquel really gives you the step-by-step, do this, do that, and that's, I think, really rare in the coaching world today. And that's why I wanted to get her on the podcast, because I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of this. As you guys are listening, you guys might have a real estate business. You might have, a wholesale business. You might have a lending business. She does it all, right? And we're going to be able to kind of extract, and I want to talk a little bit about her strategies, because like it helped grow one of our companies in like 6 months. Like, it happened quick. With that being said, Raquel, can you give us an elevator pitch?
An elevator pitch.
Yeah, hit it.
That's a loaded question. So, like you said, I think I've worn many hats in the industry. I don't go off of theory. It comes back to real experience, because people ask me all the time, how have you been able to scale so many different companies? I think it's one thing to be in the business, be a top producer, and run your business, but it's another one to actually get results when you're in a consulting coaching form. So if you look at my clientele, all of them have scaled in some fashion very, very quickly. And that just comes from having to shortcut some of the lessons that they had to learn that I've learned in my past history.
Love it. Love it. Guys, well, you're going to be in for an amazing episode. Raquel over here is a beast, and I'm excited for her story to be shared. And she also coined the play bigger term, guys. So you're in for a treat, guys. So, Raquel, I just want to say, let's jump in. Where did it all start before all your entrepreneurial endeavors started? What was the dog days for you?
The dog days is I got into this business when I was 19, by accident, actually. I wanted to become an investor. I went ahead and was listening to an infomercial on Carlton Sheets on how to buy no money down. And I had just graduated out of high school, and I was like, I want to be an investor. But before I was going to ask people for money, I thought, why not get my real estate license to really figure out how to, do real estate and learn a little bit more before I ask people for money.
Yeah.
So the course, I didn't order it, but it showed up on my doorstep. So I thought that was a sign. My brother actually saw the same infomercial, and he ordered the books.
Wow.
But I went through it. I got my license. I became an agent part-time, because I was selling cell phones in San Mateo at Hillsdale Mall at the time when I started real estate.
No way. Full circle, guys. If you don't know, Hillsdale is only 10 minutes away from us right now as we speak, where we're filming. Maybe 15. So, wait, but I got a quick question, sidetrack. But did your brother actually go through the courses?
No.
So he bought it and you used it?
I used it.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And I think that happens in business a lot.
Yeah.
Is that we have all this information, we go to classes, we go on YouTube, we go on Google, but very, very few execute.
Yeah.
Very few.
I want to ask, though, before the infomercial and all of this, did you have a desire for riches or making a ton of money or, building a business? Did you have any of that drive before, or a seed that was planted before, or was it that infomercial?
1,000%. I think I come from poverty. My parents were really our background is we had bunk beds in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot. Like every room had a bunk bed and even the garage. So just seeing them, I had no idea that, you know, we were struggling. I had no idea that my parents' like credit was terrible. And so I was like, whatever I can do, the moment I can work, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to help my parents, because in the Asian culture, it's like you kind of help your parents.
Yeah.
So I never wanted to rely on them for like a car, college. I put myself through college. When I was in high school, I graduated early so that I could work in Hillsdale. I started telling my parents that, you know, when I was a senior, I only had 2 classes. The most required one was like English and I think social studies at the time, you know, and then the rest was all electives, you know, and I was like, okay, if I can work, then let me work. And so my senior year, they were like, aren't you going to go to college? And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go to college. They're like, you do all this in school, you get good grades, I'm in student government, I play sports, like you're a candidate for a lot of universities. And I was like, you know what? I think a degree does not guarantee success in life. And so I was that rebel.
Wow.
Like, growing up, and they were like, you're going to waste your future. And I was like, well, Bill Gates, Michael Dell at the time. So these, like, I was reading Success Magazine.
Yeah.
Because I was working in the cell phone industry and I started studying stocks.
Because there was no YouTube back then.
There was no YouTube. So then I was like, how are these people making money?
Yeah.
Like Nokia just split, you know, and back then it was Cellular One and GTE. And I was like, how are these people making money?
Yeah.
So then that's when I started studying stocks and I was like, I'm going to get into real estate.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And they were like, you're never going to make it. You're wasting your life. I can't believe you're not going to go to college. And then eventually I ended up going back to college.
Yeah.
After my first year, like right after high school, I was doing real estate part-time and then I was going to college and then I went back to go get my degree.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, guys, listen to that, man. I mean, you know, back then is completely different than now, right? When someone's like, oh, I'm about to build a business, because all the knowledge is like here, kind of like now, right, on YouTube. But back then, you know, Raquel is really someone who looked at the world and said, hey, I want this. I'm gonna go figure it out. So
I will say though, like you said, it comes from, you know, seeing something at such a young age and you're like, I don't want to ever live like that.
Yeah.
So like junior year, I was like, they called me Jamaican because I had 3 jobs.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, going into like high school, because I was like, what can I do in my free time? I want to make money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
But
I
why
think
did you go back to college though? Because I mean, you sounded like you didn't want to, and so what made you eventually go back?
because I didn't want to tell my kids that, you know what, even though mom was successful, and we'll talk about like how I got into investing, is I didn't want them, because I thought about my future kids, is I didn't want them to go, oh, you didn't finish. Because what if that was their path?
Yeah.
I'm like, to me, I'm like, you can have it all if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think do you still live by that? Like if, you know, those listening out there and they already found their career, do you suggest they go back to college for their kids?
I don't think so, just with how today is with like media, with entrepreneurship. Like even like at 18, when I had a cotillion, I was like, they read my bio, they read like all the things. They're like, okay, her dream job is to be a CEO. And everyone's like, what is a CEO?
Yeah.
You know?
It wasn't sexy back then.
It wasn't sexy.
It was considered jobless.
Yeah. They're like, CEO, what's that?
Yeah.
So I always knew that I wanted to be in business.
Mm-hmm.
Now the funny thing is I joke with Mia because we just sold one of our businesses, and when we sent out the signature for signing, he put at the bottom of the signature, co-founder, chairman, CEO,
President.
like president. It was literally like the whole. I'm like, and I was joking because then his cousin who bought the business with them did the same thing, and I was like, okay. I said, Mia, so who's the CEO and who's the president? Because they literally took all titles. So now it's a different era where it's like so glamorized that everybody wants to be a CEO. And I would actually argue you don't want to be the CEO. You don't, like, eventually the next level up is you just want to own the company.
You just want to be an investor.
Yeah, you can be the chairman of the board or something like that, but you don't even have to be the CEO. People think that that's the most glamorous job. It's actually the hardest.
The hardest. Yeah.
You know, if you're at a big company, you have to please the investors. When shit goes wrong, you're the one to blame. So think about that one, guys.
Awesome. Well, Raquel, so you said you found investing, right? You found the infomercial and the investing bug got to you, right? And you decided to become a realtor. So what was the story from there? And like, what was the the struggles and everything of building that part?
So I knew early on that if I was going to get into real estate, that I had to go follow successful people because I had already seen that in the B2B world selling cell phones. And so I would shadow every top producer in our office. And I was like, what do they do? I tried to be their assistant. I did their open houses with them. I listened to them on the phones. And then eventually one of them became my mentor. And so they started seeing, they really wanted to help me because she's here very early. She leaves really late. She's hungry. And it was a fire that because when I got to the office, people were like, you're too young to sell real estate. People will never take you serious. Everybody was like my parents' age at the time. And it wasn't sexy back then to have like young people. Now I think we have younger people and it gets younger and younger because it's like, oh, you can make as much money as you want. You can have a flexible life, you know, and all this freedom. And with one house, you can make $20,000, you know? So I only have to sell 5 houses and I could quit my job here in tech world, you know? But I think after like having those mentors, I think a lot of people were like, she's just hungry to learn. And I had a mentor that was like, you're making money. You have to invest. Because back then I was like, I didn't have kids. I wasn't married. I was buying purses. I was buying cars, all the things.
Typical Filipino.
Of course. Shoes.
Jordans.
You brought up stocks for a minute. You brought up stocks and then you brought up real estate. Why did you pursue real estate and not stocks?
Because real estate was like an asset. And I knew that if it crashed, I could sell it off. And I couldn't like stomach. I did own stock, by the way, and there was a big crash, and I just couldn't stomach it every day up and down. Yeah. And I actually had somebody in my world at the time that worked at the Pacific Stock Exchange, and I was like, this is stressful.
Yeah. I feel like now it's starting to hit that crossroad again where people are like, oh, should I do stock? Day trading's huge.
Of course.
Future trading,
Bitcoin,
option trading.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, well, and then, or real estate. And then I get people bashing me all the time, like, oh, because I'm big on real estate. I do have stocks too, but I'm like, this is what I know. This is what I do. It's steady. It's consistent. And like, it's almost impossible to fail.
100%.
But then stocks is, I mean, as long as you buy the right S&P 500 or whatever ETF, it's kind of the same. But I'm like, but you get no cash flow. You get no depreciation. What do you say about that? Like, where do you kind of sit now?
Real estate all the way. It's what I know. We actually lost a bunch of houses. So when I was younger, I had a ton of houses. And then when the market crashed, we also like had to short sell things. And so it was interesting because my husband was like, I'll never invest in real estate because he had a bad taste of, you know, us having to short sell, foreclose some out of state. And we had to like rebuild. I mean, there was a point where we were couponing because we were so overly leveraged in real estate. But now I was like, I'm still going to invest in real estate. So when like the REOs hit, I'm like, if I can buy a house for $30,000, $50,000, I'm going to buy that. And we took $100,000. We put it back into real estate. We took $100,000 and we put it into mutual funds because it was safe. Well, guess where those 2 portfolios are today? Yeah. Very different.
Fast forward now. So real estate, being a realtor, what was the next evolution? Because you dominated. You were top 1% in the Bay Area.
In Union City.
In Union City. I mean, what was next? And why did you pursue the next level when you could have just stayed being a realtor, you know, making $1 million a year, whatever it is now? Like, why did you go to the next level? And please share the audience. What was the next level?
So the next level was the mortgage company. Well, I would say building a team because you start getting a ton of deals. You don't have the time. And so I opened up a mortgage company. And how that happened was also by accident. So you'll hear like a theme. It's like,
was there an infomercial?
No, it wasn't an infomercial. And it was just me being naive.
Yeah.
Because people started reaching out to us like, hey, can I have your loans? Because we were doing so many deals. And I was like, well, what does that look like? We want to be your like lender partner. Yeah. And I was like, well, how do we own the company together? I didn't know to even ask that, but I just asked because I was naive. I didn't know. I'm like, and then they were like, you actually want to own the company? And I was like, yeah, what does it look like to be partners? Like true partners, not me give you deals and you give me like my marketing, you know, or you pay for like my events. Like what's bigger than that? Yeah. So then I found a loophole and then we took all these lenders and we were like, what's the cost? What's the points that I can charge up front? What's the points I get? And then the mortgage company was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was making more money at the time, the mortgage company or the real estate side?
The mortgage.
Yeah.
Because we had World Savings. We were like a direct lender for them. Countrywide, like all your subprime lenders back in the days, they were coming to our office. And so you can get a point up front. Some people were charging 3 points. I felt really guilty. And then there was 3 points on the back end. So that's 6% off every real estate deal, where we were just getting 3% on a real estate deal.
You think that's still the same now? Because
no,
I've been approached, like they want me to partner and open a mortgage company. I'm like, oh boy, I don't know. Like it's,
well,
I heard
with
the regulations are like crazy.
They're very crazy because of the recession.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you could actually say, hey, can you sign off on all the conditions? Back then it wasn't digital. So like they were coming to your office and they were just signing off.
Wow. Okay. So don't do it.
I would say do it, but
Okay.
it's not as lucrative, I would say, than it was back then. Because if you can get a piece of every transaction with one transaction, it's other lines of revenue.
Because I see now a lot of realtors are getting their mortgage license.
Yeah. But it's W-2 now also.
Is that what it is? Oh, yeah. So that sucks.
So we were 1099 back then.
Oh, that's way better.
Oh,
Way
yeah.
more write-offs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like you're going to scale a W-2.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find different ways for tax. I'm not a CPA, but
Yeah. So, I mean, by this time you were, what, 21?
I was 24.
24. Okay. So 5 years have gone by.
23, 24.
You're now 24. You're running a real estate team. You're running a mortgage company. And my next question is, what did that look like? Like, who reported to you? Were they older than you? Did you have any issues with, people coming in and saying, oh, I don't want to work with this young girl,
Yeah, I don't think on the real estate we had that because we were on every single Union City bus. So they were like, how can you give me leads?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
sure.
they just automatically thought you were famous and successful. So they were like, if she has all the business in Union City, plus our signs were everywhere.
Yeah.
So they were like, I want to work for you. On the mortgage side, I had my brother who ordered Carlton sheets. I'm like, hey, if you want to go in with me, we can open this mortgage company because I needed another license.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do both. It was illegal back then. And so he ran the mortgage side, but we had a falling out because he got really greedy and he started becoming a bookie.
Oh, wow.
And so that, again, you have to quickly pivot when you're running a business. You're like, I have to make some hard decisions. And I brought in my husband at the time, or he's still my husband. I was like, you got to get your license.
Yeah.
Like we have all these deals that are waiting to fund and we need a license.
Yeah.
So like he had to do the crash course.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What were your like goals for the mortgage company though? Like obviously you've built it out fresh, this new idea. What were your goals? Were you like, I'm gonna have this for forever, right? We're gonna do millions. Like what was your initial like goals for that company?
I know this sounds really stupid,
Well,
but here's what I'm going to say. Whoever the number one was in our real estate office, I was like, that's my goal.
Yeah.
And in the mortgage, we had like a San Jose office. We had a Fremont office. I was like, that's going to be my goal.
Yeah.
And so whatever the volume was at the time, I'm like, we're going to be the number one office.
Wow.
It wasn't like, I just didn't know any better.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did this like competitive drive come from? It looks like you have this fire in you. Do you, anything that you said, like where it came from?
Probably being the only girl.
Yeah.
I had two brothers. They beat me up all the time. And I was like, I'm a tomboy just like you.
Yeah.
And just because I'm a girl, I don't have different rules.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Talking about goals, and I know we touched on this the other day at Arizona, but what was like the definition of success for you at the time? And also like how did it change throughout the years?
Oh, what a great question. I think my first one was like, how do I make 100,000? And then how do I get outside of my parents' house?
Yeah.
And then it was
Getting off the bunk bed.
yeah, get off the bunk bed. How do I own this type of car?
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't know any better. I just thought when I would go to Hillsdale, I'm like, all these people live in these like fancy houses in the hills. Like, how do I own that? So in Union City, there was this neighborhood called Meridian Court. It was the only gated community. And I would leave the office, I would drive, and I could just U-turn. And I would just go up to the palm trees, go to the gate, and I'd tell the guard gate guy, and I'm like, hi. I'm like, I just want to like go up to the gate. One day I'm going to live here. I just tell him like, one day I'm going to live here. And so that was like my next goal was like, how do I own a house in Meridian Court? So that was like one of my first houses in Union City.
Wow. Congratulations. That's a big win.
Thank you.
But what about today? Has it changed today though? Like all of the obviously back then it's the car, right?
The materialistic.
The materialistic stuff, right? And I know as everyone gets older a little bit and business, it changes. Has that changed for you?
For sure. I think it changed when I got married. I think it changed when I had kids. And then when you can supply enough for your family, then it's like, what's next? So now it's about the legacy and it's about the impact that I can create with other people.
Love that.
Going back to your business, who was your mentor during this time? Like opening a mortgage company. Did you have a coach?
I did. So my very first coach was Mike Ferry. So it was $1,000 back then, even in 2000.
It's still $1,000. He
Is
has
it
raised his
still?
price. I think so.
Yeah. So, and it was like expensive because my car payment was that, my rent wasn't that. It was like double. And I was like, well, you know what? If this is going to guarantee me like success, and success to me back then was 100,000. So if I can invest $12,000 to go get 100, I'll do that all day long.
Yep.
So that was my very first coach.
Yeah. And then along the way, like what were some of the challenges of the real estate, the mortgage, like, and how did you overcome it?
So I think the challenge is always how do you shut off work? Because again, I had a husband that was in the mortgage side and I was doing real estate. And we also had Bryce fairly quickly. So it's like, how do you not just have that conversation all the time? Even when we go out, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, is this client going to fund? Even like after hours, like what conditions do we have outstanding? So I think that, and then probably people management, like having to learn how to lead people at such a young age.
That's like, I tell people, I don't think the age matters as much anymore.
No.
But it's like I don't know even what to say. You just got to fucking have authority. And you have to like be able to have a big enough dream to where other people's dream can fit in it.
Yeah. I think it's easier and I hate to say this, but it's easier for guys to have that type of authority. When it's a woman going into a new market, it's like a very thin line between bitch. Sorry if I
Go ahead.
It's good, all good.
I was going to say that.
Between
Yeah. Like,
bitch,
oh, she's bitchy.
She's bitchy.
She's mean.
To like, I got to give her respect.
Okay, so how do you do that? How do you navigate those thin lines?
I think through a lot of lessons.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you can't go in there and think just because you have a title of a CEO that you can be a bitch.
Yeah.
It's like you got to earn their trust. You got to lead people. You actually have to show results for them to give you even more respect. So it's almost like this velvet hammer. And I believe with women, they have this intuition. So it's like they can really sense a situation is off, whether it's through data or through people's personalities. And it's like, how do we navigate through that?
Yeah, so you talked about how you were a CEO in a startup and you were your own bosses a lot as well. Like, how was it navigating that? I mean, like, apart from being a boss yourself, like with clients as well, like as a woman in the workspace, how were you able to kind of juggle that and like make yourself earn that respect despite how hard it is over there?
Yeah, so I think in real estate, for being a woman, you have to think about like different personalities. I'll just say that. Because number one, I looked young. So people, like my clients, didn't always take me serious, but that got me to over research laws, disclosures, negotiate. And then there's the thing about, especially when I was single, there's the husband and there's the wife. So there's a different dynamic when you come to the door. So I can say this now, but like back then it was tough. It was like, I paid attention, even though the wife wasn't the decision maker. I paid attention to her because I wanted to make sure she felt secure. And you learn this through time.
Oh, so is that what you do? Do you talk back then? You had to talk to the wife to make them feel good. And
if you felt this energy when you walked and say like, I'm here to list your house, like knock, knock.
Yeah.
Who's this girl showing up to my house?
Like, what's up with a peace sign?
Who's this young girl showing up to my house?
How did you find out her information? Let's just be real.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're a girl, you talk more, like you make the girl feel secure. If you're a guy, you make the guy feel more secure. You know, it's
even though they don't make the decision.
Yeah. You just got to make sure they're comfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
You just got to neutralize the feelings for a little bit.
Gotcha. That's some real game, guys.
It's not easy, but that
Because
learn
you were
from
going to get
experience.
rejected.
Yeah.
You were going to like do all this prep work for a listing to go sell their house. And they're like, no, I don't like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even speak anymore. Like you couldn't even tell your experience. You couldn't say how many houses you sold.
Yeah.
It was like, no, I don't like by the way you look at my husband.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So fast forward now. So what happened after the mortgage company? What was next? The evolution of Raquel.
So we started investing in Arizona and in Nevada, Las Vegas. And I had Bryce. And what ended up happening, it was like, we had this thought of like, what would it look like if we lived outside of the Bay Area into a different state?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty ballsy because I've been doing real estate for 8 years here. How do I leave a business? I have a mortgage company that's thriving. But hey, why not? Because we wanted to build a custom home. We wanted to be on a golf course. So we were like, we're young enough that even if stuff hit the fan, we can rebuild. Like we always had that mentality of like, we can make it up way faster. So we started looking in Arizona, and Keller Williams, I was with them at the time. They had approached me and they were like, would you ever consider being a team leader or recruiter or what they called a CEO back then for this office? And I was like, well, I don't have a database. I don't have a clientele in Arizona. I know not one person. So I'm either going to have to start over and grind it out again, or I have this opportunity. Well, what I thought back then was an opportunity. And I'll say that, like, you know, Tom at the time, who was the operating principal, approached me and was like, would you ever consider being a team leader? I heard about you through the Fremont office. Would you ever consider running our office? I didn't know at the time till I got in their books that it was a failing brokerage. They were about to close doors and they were going to hire somebody else. And that was probably one of the hardest interviews because I had to go through so many steps.
Yeah.
My last interview, group interview, there was like 10 people. They called it the ALC, the Agent Leadership Council. I had to interview with all of them in a group format. But that taught me a lot too. It was like, okay, I'm going into a new market. Nobody trusts me. And then I just ended up getting hired. And I got hired, again, I had mentors, because at the time, the salary was $60,000. I went from a couple $1 million, right? To $60,000. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
You know? And Rick Jiha, who's out of Fremont, who passed away a couple years ago here, he sat me down and he was like, Raquel, I promise you, like, don't look at the short side of like the $60,000. If you kill it here, you're going to open doors. So then I was like, okay, well, how do I reverse engineer? Like, how do we get out of selling our mortgage company, float some money? How do we sell the business to an agent and get referral fees while I go take this job?
Wow.
So that's really what ended up happening is I took that job. We went from failing to one of the top 10 market centers, and there was 700 offices of Keller Williams. And we were like maybe 4 or 5. And so it was like, who's this girl that just turned around your market center? And then that really got me like my leadership stripes, because it was during the recession.
Yeah.
People were getting foreclosed on. People were getting divorces. I'm 26 years old trying to figure out how to navigate divorces. Repossessions in the parking lots of like agents' cars, because everyone had like heydays back then, right? Like they were order takers in 2005 and 6, right? So that everyone had like beautiful cars in the parking lot, but they had tax bills. I was getting levies. I'm like, I had no idea what I was walking into.
Okay, couple of things. Number one, how the hell did you get your husband to agree to get that big of a pay cut?
Because he saw the other side and we had investments.
Okay, all right.
Remember we had the the investments in all the houses before like the market
Yeah.
crashed.
So it's like, oh, it could be better. You know, we're there with it.
So during this time, was it the market crash?
So I got that in 07.
Okay.
A year later, it crashed.
And then even a year later, you turned that failing office still to a top.
So we got an award and we were on stage for like turning around the most profitable offices.
All right. Next question. What did you do to turn it from a failing business to a thriving one?
One, I read a book. It was like the first 90 days, because I was like, how do I become a CEO in a corporate world? Right? Because I've always done things very bootstrap, like with my real estate and my mortgage company. But now I had bosses and I had layers of bosses, a regional director. So I was like, I read a book. I read lots of books. Like, how do I show up? I knew that I couldn't change anything for 90 days. So what I first did was I went to all their top producers, like, I want the top-down report. Because I knew that the people at the top had the most influence to what they could say about their boss or their recruiter or their team leader. So I started building relationships with the agents. I looked at their P&L. They had like 14 people on staff. And I was like, this has to get cut. I'm going to have some tough conversations. And then I knew that based on some of the trends that I could see in their P&Ls, that they weren't making the money. So I was like, how do I get other income? So what I ended up doing was like, who's our lender partners that are coming in this office? Who's our home warranty title companies? I made them all pay every single month a fee so that we could cover operating costs. So that's how we became profitable. And then I started recruiting all the agents from the other brokerages.
Wow. I mean, you say it's so easy. It can't be, that easy, right? Like, did you have could you recall a couple like really hard days like through that where you were just like, yo, like this sucks?
I wanted to quit 5 million times.
Yeah.
Or even the one that said, damn, I made the wrong decision. Like I should have stayed in Union City.
When the money wasn't coming fast enough. Because I was like, what did we do? We built this beautiful house on a golf course. Yeah. Right? We could have stayed, and I was already at referrals at that time here in Union City, right? Because we had 8 years in.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I got bosses now.
Yeah.
And I'm making a lot less. That's what I made in high school. I was selling cell phones.
And they're failing right now. Yeah.
And they're failing. But I was like, you know what? God only gives you what you can handle. And like, he tests you. So like, there's a reason why I'm here. So like, let's live it out.
Yeah.
And so that was like where I was like, if I commit to this, like, let me commit to this at least for a year to see like what I'm capable of.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, to all the listeners out there, like we always talk about it, it always comes down to perspective. Like, whether it's a, hard time, building a mortgage company or like getting your first real estate deal, like it is all hard, but it's, are you going to push through or are you going to say, hey, I'm going to try something else and quit in 6 months when I do that, So it's all perspective, guys. But
then you fast forward, right? With a couple years, that's how I got earned equity, other offices. My bonus, they had to restructure my bonus because when he gave me my offer, I was like, if that's your goal in 5 years, how do I do it in 2? And if I do it in 2, can I have equity? Like I was ballsy enough because I was like, if anything else, I could just go back to California.
Yeah.
You could say no, but I could go back to California.
Yeah.
So I didn't know about any of that until I got this position.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I would love to talk a little bit about like how you balance, because that time you were already a mom, right? How you balance being a mom as well as being like in such a leadership role and continue to grow from it, because all the advice you told and all the experience you told us the other day made Jenna cry. So I feel like all the audience should also hear about it. So I would love to hear just like, how do you navigate being a great mom as well as like continue like to be great at what you do?
So I would say that I was out of balance when I was building these companies. But I knew he was young enough that he didn't really understand. I had a playpen in my office.
Yeah.
I was having agents hold the baby, but I was in it when I was like building the real estate team and the mortgage company. I think it was till I had my second child that I took a step back from being a CEO at Keller Williams. And I was like, I'm going to do the stay-at-home mom thing. Yeah. I didn't do it with Bryce. I'm going to do it with Brexton. That didn't last for very long. Like, I think that and I give it up to all the moms that could stay at home, because that is a very, very tough job. But I just know that I'm wired a little bit different. I mean, you're talking to a girl that was writing an offer in delivery. So the offer was due in San Francisco at 1 o'clock. Bryce was born at 1:48. Doctor comes in, it's like, you got to start pushing, get off the phone. And we didn't have like computers back then. I'm having my assistant write an offer, trying to fax the offer in the hospital.
The whole team's there.
And then my second one, I told someone to pick up the phone because an asset manager was calling. So I think it goes. Because one thing I learned is when the opportunity's there, it doesn't last forever. Yeah. So make the most out of it. Now, going back to like being a mom, I think it's really important for you to understand, like for everyone to understand that like when you're a parent, if you're going to give your kids advice, like go after your goals, I don't ever want them to go and turn around and go, why didn't you go after your goals, Mom? I think with them seeing me go after my goals made them work hard and go after their goals. like my son today, it's super rare to have an Asian basketball player get a D1 scholarship. Super rare today, and get a brand deal and get NIL.
Wow.
You know, so like
amazing.
He worked his tail off to be in certain positions, to be on a circuit with Under Armour, to have all this looks, and he had to do things very different. But I think there's one thing that I've told my kids from a very, very young age: we don't do lazy in this house. Like, you can't do anything with lazy. If you marry lazy, they're going to be lazy. You're going to have a hard life.
I always say marry rich.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way.
It's the easiest way.
Yeah. So at this point, eventually you did end up making more money in this new position than you did in California.
Yes, we did.
Great.
During the downturn. Yeah.
And then what was next? Because
So-
you don't stop there.
Yeah, because everyone's like, you can't build a team. Like, you can coach all. So I had 300 agents at that brokerage. So I know what it is to have like a large brokerage, and to your phone to be like, can you go with me on a listing appointment? Can you work through this like deal with me?
Yeah.
Because I got all those phone calls.
Yeah.
But I think what was next was people were like, well, it's one thing for you to just talk in a new market and give us coaching and teach us like what it takes.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, let's see if I could build a team in Arizona from scratch.
Yeah.
So I built my second team in Arizona from scratch. And then we had REOs at the time. I gave all the deals to the office because I knew all the agents. And we basically, my first year in production, we sold 253 homes as a solo agent.
Jeez.
That's when I learned the story of VAs, because I couldn't be profitable with we were selling $50,000 homes.
Yeah.
Like $30,000 homes.
Yeah.
Your commission was $1,000. Like, how do you hire somebody at $8-9 an hour? You can't.
Yeah.
Like here in your office. So then I was like, there's this thing called VAs. I found out from a mentor, and I was like, okay, you're going to do billing. You're going to do all the HOAs. You're going to go try to collect reimbursements from the banks. And then they would work at night. Our BPOs would be done in the morning. And I was like, okay, let's turn this machine.
Yeah. I just want to ask, like, what did the VA actually like do for you? Like, what did like it free up? You know?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So I had one assistant who came to me by our receptionist. It was her daughter. She worked with me for 15 years. Our VAs did, like, I took all the task and I was like, you're going to do utilities. You're going to do this. Anything that didn't require them talking to the bank and my asset managers, because I had to be the person that controlled the accounts, they did.
Yeah. And that just allowed you to do
MLS,
like more volume, like just cooking.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why, guys, this podcast is brought to you by thevahub.com. Find
Correct.
yourself a virtual assistant, which I like to say is a virtual staffing, because at the end of the day, they can do everything that you can do, but probably better. So get yourself one, thevahub.com. Now back to the show.
Totally believe in them.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, like, you know, you did it once and then you did it twice. Like, you just build these amazing teams. Like, was it easier for the second one? Is it just all structure and systems that you had and then rinse and repeat?
I think the second one was a lot easier because you knew the business. You didn't have to start from scratch. It was just a different market. And in Arizona, I felt like they were a little bit slower, more relaxed. And in the Bay Area, you hustle. It's just like New York. So you move a little bit faster. So you're like, how can I scale this really quickly? So it came down to systems back then and still now, right? And how many people could I hire so that we can pump out more volume?
And then what's next?
So then it was like this thing of like, how can this whole thing of like expansion came out? And we were like, oh, how do you take the hub that's already operating, profitable, and how do you expand your team to the next city? So then I expanded to Scottsdale, to Chandler, because we already had all the leads, right?
Yeah.
So then, and to Glendale. So those were my first 3 offices. And then I was like, how do I do it out of state? So I had one in Fairfield. I had one in Fresno. And then it ended up being that we had 23 teams that were operating across the country.
Wow. And it was all through you?
Yeah, it was me, and I was the VP of growth. I had a VP of operations, and then I had a CEO, and I had 5 people that were like on the board, like advisors.
Yeah.
Wow. But it's like, how do you take this same hub and it was like a spokes model. and
Yeah.
have all these different teams.
Yeah.
And then the agents didn't have to take care of like everything.
Absolutely.
So we were like the first team that like hit 10 million back then.
So I mean, obviously we're talking, and it sounds like just win after win after win. What were some of the struggles? And like, because I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes right now when you're winning, it feels great and it just keeps you motivated to keep going. But sometimes when you have like consecutive losses or like stagnant growth, you kind of feel like, man, I'm in the rat race and like enough is enough. Did you ever feel that? And then if so, like, why did you keep pushing when you were probably at this point comfortable?
Well, a lot of people tell you too, when you are so ambitious, that like, when is enough, Raquel? And it might come from your like closest family members or like people that really love you. Like, don't you think you have enough? Why are you being greedy? And I'm like, no, I just want to see how far I could go.
Yeah.
And you have to be really careful with that and comfortable and confident, because some people will have these opinions of you. And I think they start to have opinion when you start to change because they see the older version of you. They saw me as like the little kid. But then when I became the agent that was like successful, they're like, oh, okay, now I could trust her with my house and selling my house. Like a lot of my aunts and uncles didn't trust me. They used other realtors when I was starting in the business. But as far as like the rat race and like, getting off of it, were there hard times? 100%. Like in every single situation, there was like, can we pay payroll like this month? Like, who do we need to cut? But like, to me, I was like the people are the last people that I will ever cut, especially if they've been with me from like day one, because they were there through the journey.
Yeah.
Or like in the brokerage world, there was jealousy, right? Because I went from being their leader to now running a team like them, and all of a sudden we're the number one team. Oh, she's stealing leads from everyone that's calling in. She has Lori at the front desk giving all the leads to her, when really like it was totally different, but it's perception.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Right? Perception is reality to people. And so it's like, how do I change that story?
It's funny because even though that was probably years, like, I don't know, a decade ago, it's still the same.
It's still the same
today.
That's why I'm able to help some of the clients today, because I'm like, I went through that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's the thing. It's like you learn through experience. You learn, and the fastest way to kind of skip steps is to learn from people who's already been through it, so that you don't have to try to figure it out. And that's why coaching is important. I think most people think coaching is like more, oh, tell me what to do. It's not really that. And so sometimes, like, even though like every week go by, you might not get a lot of updates, but when there is a problem, you have somebody to call, and that can really expedite things.
And then even like in expansion, right? Like, was there problems? Every single day, like every single day, when you have 100 agents across the country, maybe 150, 23 offices, different time zones, people are complaining they're not getting paid enough because they see all the sales coming, but we weren't even profitable. Like, how do we pay for a TC that's $80,000 in DC, like the Baltimore area, and then 40,000 in like Florida. Like, and they're doing the same amount of work. I'm like, we could hire VAs for that. So there was always challenges. And I remember I would have a block in my calendar just for fires, because when you have all these people asking for your attention, and I would put it at the end of the day, because I would try to teach people, like, be resourceful. And most of the time it was already solved before I could get to them.
Wow. Amazing. I mean, it's definitely like putting out fires is definitely not. It's not good for the soul, It definitely takes a lot and drains.
A lot of wine.
I mean, I just want to say, amazing stuff that, your story is just so inspiring to me. I mean, you have such big goals, and I just want to, give a moment to say it's an amazing story.
It is. Yeah. I mean, you've coached so many people, and like, I'm sure you've had so many different experiences. What's like an advice you would tell yourself, like your younger self again, or for anyone else there that's like starting out in their journey?
Never be afraid to take risk, because you'll learn so much quicker. You'll learn so much faster. You'll gain the knowledge, and you'll pivot so much quicker to make the adjustments to what you were like really meant to really do. Yeah. I mean, I wish I would have taken more risk and been more naive early on.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you did take a lot of risks and were really naive, and that helped you out. So,
yeah, but then after the recession, you start to get, like, when you lose big, like if you could scale big, but when you lose big, you start to like go, oh my gosh, you start to be a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, More calculated a
Yeah.
little bit.
For sure.
I just want to take some time, honestly, to say, like, Raquel, you've built big teams, amazing teams, right? And you didn't stop there. You were like, hey, I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to see what else I could do, right? Because you have big goals. And I think I just relate it back to, like, how to give permission, right, to people that's like, hey, like, dream bigger. Like, have big goals, right? Stop, like, limiting yourself so low, right? Like, sometimes maybe, you could be a realtor who's just like, oh, I just want one deal. But the realtor who starts and is like, yo, I'm about to make 100 deals. Like, I'm gonna make 100 deals this thing, right? Like, that excitement when you get the first deal's already done. Like,
right.
You have no bigger goals to like get excited for. So I just think that everybody, like, out there listening to Raquel's stories, like, hey, give yourself permission to put some crazy goals out there, to say, hey, like, I don't want the BMW. Like, I want the Rolls Royce. Like, I don't want the single bed family. Like, I want the house on top of the hill, the mansion, all that, guys. Because, like, what we say, and, like, the limit, it's just ourselves, right? Putting the limits on ourselves.
Yeah, never be afraid to go after what you want. I think where people get hung up on is they start listening to their to their people that they love or they think they love.
Yeah.
And it just keeps them in this, like, small circle. Once you start getting out of that, like, if I would have listened to, like, hey, let's keep going out, or, like, you're working too much, or when is enough, then I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today.
100%, probably not.
Where was your husband in all of this?
He ran our mortgage company.
Yeah.
And then when we got into Arizona, he took on a job, which he's still at. And because he doesn't like to take risk. And so I think he has one of the best jobs ever because he gets to golf 3 times. He has an account where he gets to wine and dine people, free car, free insurance. And then obviously we've all got insurance and stuff. So he was definitely my support in all of this. I could not do it without Brad. I think that's very, very important, especially when you're out traveling, trying to get accounts, trying to meet people, like, to have that home base be very, very secure. Because if not, like, I don't think I would have gone this far if I had a husband that was jealous or I had a husband that was controlling.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough for some of the people that I coach that are women.
That's the thing. I don't have, as a man, I'm kind of always out and about, right?
Yep.
And I got to make sure that she's good at home. But I've always wondered what it is for a woman because, like, I think the society tells the men that they have to go out there and they have to be the breadwinner. They have to be the provider. I'm not saying he's not, but, I mean, your role at this point as CEO, you're running multiple offices.
Yeah.
I don't think he was doing that, right? And I know Brad. Brad's cool as hell. We drink a lot. He's an amazing guy.
I like
so
Brad.
He's also 6'3", so that does help a lot with not being insecure, But
No, but
it's
I think
still
he had
hard.
to learn
So-
that. He had to learn that.
Yeah.
Because
So what do you teach the female listeners, which we don't have a lot? I think only 35% of our listeners are female. But the 35% that's out there, like, they're out there trying to be a hustler. And we have a lot of people on our team. They're trying to go out there and be big. They're going to Aria. They're going to all these events, the networking. They're going on Saturday, Sunday open houses. So they're not home a lot.
Correct.
How do you make your man feel secure?
So one, I think he has to feel secure himself. Like, he has to have the confidence because when he was at the golf course and when we lived in this golf course community, they're like, your wife is always traveling and she makes, money, more money than you. It would be a teasing as you're, like, playing golf, right?
Yeah.
Like, and he was just like, I love the fact that she makes more money. I love the fact that he had to own that.
Yeah.
And I think that's internal. I think a guy has to own that. Like, I don't think a girl could give that, but he had that confidence. Is like, you know what? Because there was a point where I was like, hey, we can stop all of this.
Yeah.
And we could live, like, very, like, average lives, or do you want to go for it? And every time I had to make a decision, this is what I did. And I would say this over and over to anybody that has to make a big, big decision that you're not going to be home, you're going to be on planes, is when I became the CEO, we sat down as a couple. When I, like, went to go do expansion, we sat down as a family. There's going to be days where you're going to have to eat peanut butter and jelly because dad's cooking. There's going to be days where mom's not going to be here. But no matter what, like, we are a unit and we operate as a unit. So, like, we get text messages even today. Like, my kids, they know I'm here. They're like, good luck, Mom. You're a goat. You're with your event. Like, you should see our family, like, thread.
Yeah.
Like, they know that we're all, like, leaders in our own right. So we know we get stuff done.
Yeah.
But we all, no matter what, support each other, love each other, no matter what.
I love that.
Communication.
Communication
1,000%.
as a unit. It's even inside communication.
It
unit.
sucks because
We operate as a unit.
We talk so much during the day that we get so tired.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
And we're like, oh my God, I'm mentally drained. I've been
Yeah.
talking for 8 hours all day. And you go home and you're like, you give one word answers to your spouse, and they're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And so my biggest takeaway, and I'm guilty of it, is that I'm learning to really speak more and give the same amount of energy that I give for work as I do when I get home. So I usually pound a sunset drip around 3-4 o'clock so that 7 I can last to 9-10 o'clock. Sometimes if I know it's gonna be, if I know the kid's got a lot of energy, I'll pound another monster.
For sure. Well,
here's the other thing that I would say about that, because I think this is important. This is something that I learned later on and wish I would have learned early, is sometimes I would go home when he got out of the business. I would go home and like talk about the agents, talk about this, but like they're not in it. This is what you have a coach for. This is what you have mentors for. Like, let your unit be like, what do you want to talk about? What like excites you? And if you guys have the same mission or like the same vision of what you guys are trying to accomplish, it's like, how was basketball? How was coaching today? It's about them. Because I would do that the same for the agent, but why am I like dragging all my problems to like my husband when I get home? Like, that sucks. I don't want to be the punching bag,
For sure.
And then also, I mean, it just give him some compliments, girls, ladies out there. Go home and tell him he's doing good.
But damn, you look jacked today, baby.
Yeah. You do so much. Oh, funny story. Funny story. I gotta say this.
Go ahead.
Because everyone's like, how does Brad like clean the house? And how is he like OCD? So when he first moved in with me, he did laundry. And like, he's not the best folder, and he knows this because I tell the story all the time. But I was like, honey, you do such a great job. I've never touched laundry again. It's called leverage.
Locked in. She like when I do the laundry. I'm gonna do it. But that's funny. I just want to also say, I mean, Alex Ramosi said that, like, he goes home and obviously you got to talk to your partner, right? But he goes home and then he like doesn't talk to like Layla for like 30 minutes to an hour and just like decompress, because bro, we just talked for like hours and we go back home like, all right, let's do it. Like,
that's the same thing for Brad. When he coaches big games, like, he watches TV, and some people will be like, oh, that's lazy. No, I know he's decompressing. Like, he's probably trying to think like, how did we lose that game? Or how did we win that game? Why didn't we pivot here? So I'm like, I got to give him a space. Like, I can't just be like, do you want to hear about my day? This one got fired. This one I want to fire.
That's why it's important to like create a space where it's like, again, like, together, right? We understand like how we want to operate. It's like, okay, if you don't want to be talked to like right when you get home, all right, give me 30 minutes and then we could talk, but it's just understanding that it's like communication. I
think the other thing for relationships, and I see this a lot in real estate because we're always out and about, and I've had a lot of women on my team, is sometimes we grow and then we go, oh, he's not growing with us. Mo Anderson, which is like, I think now she's the VP of the chairman or the co-chairman of Keller Williams. She was a huge mentor of mine, like woman mentor. And she would always say that if you're going to grow, it's your responsibility as a woman, especially as like the alpha woman, to go bring your husband with you and grow together. So when I would get offers, I'm like, even though I was a decision maker, I'd be like, don't talk to me, talk to Brad. Like, you guys see when I go out, I'm like,
for sure.
I always try to include him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah. That's a great,
really is,
because I hear it a lot. Obviously now I'm hitting that point where they're like, oh yeah, my wife doesn't grow with me. I'm like, bro, you're not growing, and you don't bring them along. Like, how do you expect them to learn and grow?
I mean, you're not growing if you're telling that to everybody.
Yeah,
exactly. You go to the networking event, you're like, God, and wife's not growing. That's why.
Not growth. Then there's comes friction. That's where divorces.
Yeah. So you guys,
so crazy.
Be nice, guys. Anyways, let's keep it pushing. This is such a great pod. But I want to ask you, Raquel, do you think that without your mentor, even you too, Brian, because I know you were with Tom Ferry as well, but
Mike Ferry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's a common denominator.
But so would you guys be here, do you think, honestly, without doing that first mentorship?
No.
Not at all.
You don't think you guys could have done it by yourself and just been like,
hell no,
a freaking hustler, like, I'm gonna be this realtor that does it raw?
I didn't know it. Like, I didn't know anything.
It would have took a lot longer.
Yeah.
But also, like, a lot of the structures that my habits now were from Mike Ferry.
Yeah.
Mike Ferry was my first
Discipline.
coach too. Same thing. So, they were like, wake up. Well, it was even worse. He goes, you got to wake up at 4.
4? Yeah.
Because then they would put the role play by 7 a.m.
Yeah. You got to get on phone calls.
Yeah. And don't watch the news. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
That's why I don't watch the news. That was a Mike Ferry thing. And so it just, like, at an early age, ingrained that in my head. Positive self-talk, all that stuff. Like, honestly, the most basic bullshit that I repeat all the time, which is our really the foundation to success, came from Mike Ferry, the coach.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you get different coaches along the way, and now it's not so much like big aha moments, but really just small adjustments that lead to big impacts.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, those core things are like crucial.
Oh, okay,
sure.
gotcha.
And that's why, like,
For
nowadays,
sure.
like, a lot of people, they say, like, oh, you don't have to wake up early. The problem with that is that if you're in the space that we're in, which is, real estate, it operates from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It doesn't operate from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So you have to wake up early to get it ready and talk to people. Otherwise, shoot, you're going to be talking to nobody. You're going to wait 8 hours for a response every single time if you're a night owl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. Wake up early, guys.
Yeah. So what did a mentor do for you guys? Like,
So much. I would say that one, it got me to success a lot quicker. It gave me shortcuts. It opened up, like now it opens up doors for me. Like there's never a moment where I don't have coaches myself. Like I usually have a couple coaches, one for fitness, one for different relationships. I mean, like all the things that I'm like working on, financial wealth coach, business, I just think it's really, really important. Now I think like had I not invested in some of those relationships, I wouldn't have the relationship and the opportunities that I have today. Like
Yeah.
I feel that if I was to really ask for a favor, if I was in need, I have like a list of people that I'm like, hey, I'm in, like, I need to go raise capital. I have a list of people.
yeah.
I have like different connections that where I could connect people because of investing in myself, investing in coaches and mentors.
Fast forward, how did you get into coaching? Like, where did the Play Bigger come from, and why coaching and not go back and, because real estate's still super lucrative.
Oh, super.
But why go into this direction?
So obviously I started coaching my teams and then I coached the brokerage. So that was just natural. Then I got hired from Keller Williams to be a coach when I was doing expansion because everyone's like, how did she do it? They want to pick your brain, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, let's just make a course. Let's like figure it out. So I was one of the expansion coaches. And then I went into startup. And then after that, like fizzled out, I did consulting work. So everyone's like, my mentor then was like, you got to coach people. You got to share your knowledge because what you've gained in such a short period of time, people would love to be in your shoes and figure out like how to run a brokerage or how to do this. So Play Bigger came from like 2020. So 2020 hits, we have COVID, and back then you had your teams inside your office, cold calling, prospecting from 9 to 12.
Yeah.
How do you lead a team now of 20, of 10, when you are all at home? And how do you hold accountability? So I was already holding Zoom meetings with like the expansion team. So it was like a natural thing.
Yeah.
So Play Bigger came from that. People reached out during COVID, was like, how do I lead my team remotely? And then like, that's how it started. I had a client that like flew to Scottsdale and was like, hey, I just joined this cloud brokerage, EXP, which by the way, my last regional meeting, the CEO was there going like, can we buy your business? And I'm like, God, I should have said yes back then. One of those lessons, because you just didn't know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like we would have been with EXP today.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. So you were at Keller Williams, and then they approached you. EXP approached you to buy out?
Yeah, because like, so at the time it was EXP, Compass, like all these companies, because we were a big team across the country, right? And so they were like, if we can gulp your business, right, we would be on real treads.
Yeah.
You know?
What did they offer you? Can we share that?
No,
Damn it.
sorry,
Off the record?
I signed an NDA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
but we
did you
got to
sell?
like
legit
tour.
then.
We got to tour.
So
like,
did you sell?
Huh?
Did you end up selling?
So they ended up selling because I still had got equity after
Yeah.
the fact I left. They ended up selling.
Oh, they did to
Yeah.
EXP?
No, not to EXP.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was nice, though?
I'm sure it was nice.
No, for you.
We just got equity.
Oh.
Yeah.
But still nice.
It's
That's
still
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
That's
It's
nice.
still nice.
I mean, I think the age of it's coming back.
It is coming back.
It's coming back.
That's why I think it's different. So like going back to coaching and when you're like wanting to grow, I'm like, the first thing that I ask, depending on like the team size and depending on where they're at, I'm like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Do you want to grow and scale this? Do you want to exit? Do you want to pitch this now? Because I got a couple people that I know that are buying teams today. And this is what they're offering, because the multiplier wasn't good back then, but because of the whole cloud brokerages and all the different levels, if you got influence, you can get some money.
Yeah.
You can get some money.
I'm at the age of my life now where I am like exit mode.
Yeah.
Built to exit.
Well, exit to like do other things, to do bigger things. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Go
cash
deeper
flow is
and
good,
stuff,
but
For sure.
You know, it's nice to get one lump sum of something, and then
Yeah.
you go deep onto something else.
'Cause you can reinvest that. I mean, if somebody paid you $1 million for your business today, would you take it? People ask, right?
Depends on which business.
Depends on what it is,
yeah,
right?
for
Because
sure.
you can turn that $1 million in 30 days very
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
Very
for sure,
quickly. So
for
I'm like,
sure.
I'll get the upfront. It's like the lottery. I'll get the upfront instead of like payouts and go turn multiple partners or like go buy talent.
Yeah.
So when they sold, that's when you started up your coaching?
I left before
Okay.
that, and then I was already in startup. So I was a
Okay.
chief revenue officer for a startup.
Oh, nice.
Gotcha.
All these roles. See this?
Yeah.
Like, so many
Like
cool
and
things.
being a woman
Yeah,
in a
it's
tech
amazing.
company,
Yeah.
right? At the executive level, it's like it was unheard of.
Amazing. Absolutely. I want to ask, like, how did you get, from transitioning the brand to Play Bigger, right, for the coaching,
Yeah.
or building Play Bigger as your new coaching business? How did you get, like, your first client for that? Were you just like,
He flew into town.
oh, yeah?
Yeah, he flew
just
into
knew
town.
about you, right? Just like,
Well, because
referral?
of history. So he flew into town, still my client today, and he was like, Raquel, I just joined a cloud brokerage, EXP, by the way. How do I recruit? I've never done it. How do we scale? And I was like, you ready? And then it was like, okay, let's do this. And so we took their team, they blew up, and then that's when all the referrals came in. Because I think sometimes when people go in from top producer to coaching, they're still in production. So then you also ask, like, how many people have you actually coached that actually got results? So I would ask
Yeah.
that today.
Yeah.
If somebody's like a top producer and is coaching clients, look at their results.
Yeah.
Look at how many people they've actually scaled.
Yeah.
You'll find very, very few.
People don't want to ask
Very
that
few.
stuff, though. They just want to feel good. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you're going to do it for
But
me?
see,
All
for
right.
me, I was like almost their advisor.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's look at your business. Let me look at what you do good. Let me look at your P&L. Like, you got to cut this, this, and this. And like, we got to rearrange your leadership.
Yeah.
I'm going to say one more thing, and Amia has a question. But
Yeah.
this is not to toot her horn too much, but honestly, I've been with a lot of coaching. I've been with Mike Ferry. I've been with a couple of other smaller ones, thinking that would be better. And I've been with, probably 4 or 5 real estate coaching. A lot of them are so basic now. They don't
It's in a
actually.
box.
And you know what the messed up thing is? My advice for you guys is find a coach that actually has a good track record of, being a realtor, because a lot of them don't. A lot of them aren't even realtors
Nope.
anymore.
Yeah.
They never were. They never grew a team. They never sold a business. They never expanded into 5 or 20, or in your case, 24 offices. So it's like, what can I learn from you other than like they're really just reading a little book that
It's accountability.
Mike Ferry made. It's all accountability.
How many
I'm
calls
like,
did you make?
Yeah.
How many this?
Yeah.
And the success rate is so
Yeah.
not high.
So you need the real deal. That's it. But go ahead, Mia. What's your question?
How did you find your coaches? And if someone out there wants you to coach them, how do they find you?
So one, I learned cut through the bullshit, look at their experience. So when I look at coaches, it's like, who else have they gotten results? Not them sometimes in their business, but who else have they coached that has gotten results? That's how I look for coaches today. But again, it depends on like fitness, for example. I would never hire somebody that was not out of shape.
For
Because
sure.
I'm like,
Yeah, perfect example.
you don't
Perfect example.
even like teach what you preach.
Yeah.
Like, why would I listen to
I
you?
don't want that.
I don't want that. And then as far as coaching today is like, we want to go and coach and impact more people. So we're like doing group programs.
Do they just search up your name, or how would they reach you?
It's Raquel Q on IG, because that's where I actually answer all my messages.
Awesome.
Put it in the description.
Yeah.
Awesome. I want to ask Raquel, building something for yourself compared to like doing it for building it for like one of your clients or students.
Yeah.
Like, is there a different feeling?
It is. I mean, I think for one, I absolutely care about my clients. Like my clients will tell you that like she'll go to bat for you, and if I could open doors for them, I'll open doors, right? Like depending on what they need. And it's just so cool to see them at the top because it's not about ego. Because I'm like, dang, like when I saw you guys at the side conference and like you guys are all on stage, I was like, yes, like I was so excited.
sure.
That's why I'll screenshot it or like I'll share it, and then it's like, who's 50 Hills? Like they're making noise, and it's like if I can get them out there even more, I'm like awesome, because I know at the end of the day we're impacting multiple people.
Yeah.
Not just one.
Yeah.
Like not just like Randy or not just Brian, like everybody in the brokerage.
Yeah. I mean, you've already proved that you could do it like, for yourself, and then to do it for for other people, right?
Yeah.
That impacts their families. And, now they could take more vacations or buy the car that they wanted, right? Like that type of fulfillment is just like no other.
The best thing ever is like when their kids like send you messages and says, thanks for giving my mom back.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for having her be present. Like,
Yeah.
that's priceless for me.
In one of her books, one of the workbook that she has us do, one of the categories where she wants you to rank your life is fun and leisure. So it's not just about making money, building a big business, and creating a lot of wealth for yourself, but actually it's okay to have fun with your life. So big kudos, big shout out to that. I think that's why that kid is so happy with their mom.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because she was like always working, always answering phones, never being present.
Yeah. What's next? You've done so much cool things. Like, now are you going to do the same, or what's the big driving force?
Right now, I want to see how far we could take this. I want to see how far we could take coaching. I also want to build epic companies with epic people, like partnerships. I'm not afraid of partnerships. So to me, it's like, if you're a good human and like you have the same drive, because I think like drive does matter in partnerships, because you can't just have a lazy person. Like, we don't do lazy, right? So like, or like, oh, I think I want this, but then you can see their track record.
Yeah.
Like they stop.
Yeah.
So like I'm great at like understanding people's patterns today.
So in a partner, what do you look for as a green flag and red flags?
So it depends on the business, right? Because if it was like a SaaS company or a tech company, like it would just be different, right? But the first thing that I would go is like, what do they bring to the table? Do they bring influence? Do they bring capital? Like what type of business are we looking at? How much noise is this going to create in my life? Because you talk about like, when I started coaching, it was a pivotal point, but I also knew I wanted to be with my kids. Like, they were traveling for basketball. I was very, very intentional. I was like, I only got 4 more years left with Bryce. How do I do what I love to do and be present and be at all the basketball games? Like, you don't get that time back.
Yeah.
So like, I will, like, going back and looking back and him being in college now, I'm like, that was the best thing that I could have ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, as far as like green and red flags, I also would ask if they had other businesses, how is it to work with them? Because you find out a lot of dirt. And like, after recruiting and hiring so many people, we have this thing called 3-layer deep. So like, everyone gives you their first reference, their first layer, like they're the best ones. You hear all the good stuff about them because they already know you're calling them. Like, what do you think about Brian? Like, I'm about to hire him for one of my companies, and like, he's probably going to give me like PJ, all his best friends, right? Or like the people that like rave about him. Then I'll go to PJ and I'll be like, okay, so who else do you know that knows Brian? That's layer 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get a little bit of like, he's good, but like, he shows up sometimes late, hungover, whatever it is. I'm not saying that for the camera, by the way. I'm just saying as an example. And then I'll ask that person, number 2, I'm like, who else do you know that knows Brian? Right?
That's
and
really
I
good.
also look for like, have they had hardship like in life? Have they been knocked down?
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing that I look for.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds crazy, because if they've not been knocked down and they've gotten up and built something even more successful and didn't let them, go down,
Yeah.
I'm like, I want that person.
Those are the best people.
Tony Robbins, I think in one of his clips, says that he hires a private investigator on all of his partners before he partners up with them
Shout out
That's
to
so cool.
Tony.
That's so cool.
to get like all the dirt. And now obviously he's a billionaire, so he's doing his businesses that he creates are huge, and his name is on the line. So he wants to make sure that it doesn't hurt his reputation. So think about that the next time you guys.
Yeah,
partner with
and then the
someone,
next thing
dig
is like
deep.
they'll interview with Brad. Like, I'll bring Brad around.
Oh, really?
He has a really good guy. Like, he can read people very well.
Yeah.
And so he will tell me like, this is probably what you got to watch out for. This is like just another opinion, right?
Yeah.
So like, somebody told me when they were like reading my my future, right? Like, they have a third eye and they did some woo-woo stuff. They're like, you're always going to be the builder, the expansion person. You're going to create the wealth, and he's always going to be the protector. So I was like, so we like kind of play that role of like, you're like my line of defense.
Where'd you go get that done at?
Oh, I'll give you the name. It's like pretty amazing.
Really?
I swear.
We should all go together.
Somebody told me, oh, you said you don't do that.
I don't.
Oh, yeah, I don't do that,
never
yeah,
do
so I'm
that.
scared.
Yeah.
I never do
Scary
that.
to
But I
me.
just wanted to know like, what's next for me. I asked them like, what's next for me? Like,
What did they say?
so there was a lot, but like in a nutshell, it was like, Raquel, like, you have so much spiritual credit with so many people. You have a lot, like a field of opportunities. You just got to knock. Like, and I'm like, how do I know which one's the right one?
Yeah.
Like, I just went on this like tangent.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
I feel like, you know how you have your phone right now as your network and all
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and you can call it when you need it.
Yes,
I feel like right now you should probably go cash it in.
that's what they said.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
what they
I
said.
feel like that's what I have to do now too, because I'm like, I know my
That's what they
credit
said.
is good,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't need it yet. I don't need it
Yeah.
yet. But then the thing is, sometimes when you need it, you don't get it.
Yep.
So it's just like they always say when it comes to money, like if you're gonna go borrow money when you need it, it's hard to get it.
Yep.
When you don't need it is when you go get it. So like lines of
That's very
credit,
true.
Yeah.
you go get your HELOC, you go get whatever it is to just sit on it.
Oh, really?
Even if you don't use it, but you get it when you don't need it.
Get it
Yeah.
when you're good, huh?
So I'm gonna start
Yeah.
going through my Rolodex. I'm gonna start collecting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Do
too. You
it.
do it too. You're gonna be
Do
the
it.
first person I call. Nah,
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Whatever you need.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I think that was a great show. Yeah, like let's wrap it up. I just want to hear, Raquel, what is the last message that you want to give to all the listeners right now? Lay it out on the table.
I think if you have a vision in you, it's for you. There's a reason why you idolize people on social media. There's a reason why like you look at people's story, why you relate to things. So if their vision is in you, it's for you. Like, don't be afraid. You weren't born to play small, so you might as well play bigger.
Wow. I love it, guys. I love it. Well, you guys heard it here, all right? I want you guys to risk it, dream bigger, guys, and obviously play bigger. So thank you so much, Raquel, for being on the show. And guys,
Thank you.
if you are serious about elevating your business, your real estate, your realtor, go ahead and go give Raquel a little DM and go talk to her because she will
Is
help
there
you
like a
out.
consultation they can do?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Go
Yeah.
get that consultation, guys.
We'll do an audit. We call it a CEO audit. We'll audit your business.
Yeah, come correct, guys.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace out, guys.